Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? I've been trying to, there we go. Okay, trying to get this settled in my hand a little bit better because, of course, I have this one here and curled up in my arm. And yeah, we've been doing this a lot this weekend with Mommy having these days off. We've been cuddling up a lot. I love it. She misses her mommy, and I miss my baby. We miss each other a lot with working this job. Yeah, and so yesterday, speaking of everything, my nose. Did a lot of sleeping. Got a lot of rest yesterday. Mostly what I did yesterday was eat and sleep and cuddle up with her and cuddle up underneath my heating blankets and curled myself up with my nice warm fuzzy bathrobe, and yeah, just did that yesterday. Got a lot of much needed rest. Let's face it, this past week all I've been doing is dragging my body behind me. That's what I feel like I'm doing when I get the flare-ups there with my back and neck. But yeah, that's pretty much all I did yesterday. I know I was supposed to go grab a little bit of groceries. Rick actually, he ran out. Hi, okay. She decided, okay, no, I'm done. He decided to go and get some stuff for the house, and he picked me up a couple of things, just, out of kindness. And it's like, oh gosh, I guess this means I have to cook something, and I'm just like, I just did not want to cook yesterday. I wound up eating some little popcorn chicken things or whatever that he had up in the freezer. And, of course, cooked them. Didn't eat them frozen. Okay, threw them in the oven. Had some tortilla chips that I had left over from Friday night. Stopping off and doing that, and a candy bar. Oh, and I did have something healthy, an orange. Oh, and the last of my lemonade. Oh, gosh. Which I really would love to have still. And then I still wasn't feeling up to cooking last night, so I popped open a can of soup. Had an apple. I did have something. And, some Blue Moon ice cream. Yum, yum, yum. So, anyway, yeah, like I said, that's all I did yesterday. And did a lot of thinking in between all that busyness. Just not thinking, but more getting out of my head and soul searching. Trying to figure out what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling, mostly. Trying to find out what is going on there and so forth. And made that decision. I came to the realization and everything. I was like, okay, this job, it's a really good opportunity. It provides the stability, it provides good benefits. It isn't like they're going to possibly go anywhere anytime soon or whatever. Can't really make that, as far as that's concerned, you really can't make that statement anymore, especially when it comes to retail, because let's face it, most retail is struggling, being usurped by online shopping, and now, of course, we have this tariffs thing that's going on, everybody having their concerns about that, so on and so forth. And I'm just it, and even though the corporations, they may still go forward or whatever, they do have a tendency to close locations. So you really can't make that assumption that, you have job security. Now, former friend of mine, she thought that up until last year. And her company filed for bankruptcy, but then they got a last minute save, but that new corporation that had bought them closed most of the locations. They actually closed every single location that was open out there in Vegas. So she found out in a big hurry that this little statement that she made about, taking chances, preferring sticking with security, blah, 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 and everything. Well, guess what? Long gone are those days of joining a corporation or whatever and having job security until you retire. It doesn't happen anymore. You really have to take matters into your own hands. Doesn't matter how long they've been in business either. You may think that they're going to be around forever or whatever, but look at Woolworths. I know a lot of my younger viewers are like, what's Woolworths? What's a Woolworths? Well, go look it up, okay? Sears and Roebuck is another one. So, yeah. Nothing lasts forever, in other words. I mean, look at businesses that were open 100, 200 years ago. How many of those are still open? Right. Probably law firms. They're probably the only ones that are still open from 100, 200 years ago. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. They're about the only ones that are able to withstand anything. Always need attorneys. Always need somebody around to, yeah. Anyway, I really tell you the truth about the only thing that withstands test of time is our religions. It's the only ones that I can really think of. Let's go be a priest or a nun or whatever. Oh yeah, speaking of that, happy Easter for all the Christians out there. So, but anyway, I probably shouldn't have not said happy Easter, but made the statement that I made with dogmas or religions or whatever, go be a priest or whatever. I probably shouldn't have said that, but if you're looking for my point with that is if you're looking for something stable long term or whatever, you got to look at something that's been around for a very, 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 very long time. That's about the only thing that is. I'm not too sure what other terms or other labels that are placed on religious leaders in other faiths. So, and I come from a Christian background. That's why I use, or actually a Catholic background. That's why I use that. I know my nose is a little bit funky today, so I keep. It wasn't until I started sneezing, but oh well. Anywho, point is, either way, is that there's only one, when it comes to here in the 3D, there's only one person that you can rely on, and that's yourself. To go with the flow, feel things, and maneuver through the flow with things. Okay? If you're going to be going down that sort of a path. Otherwise, there's the path of it's a lot tougher of a path, but there's the path of independent contractor, being business for yourself and taking care of yourself. So that's been my struggle. I have been down the path of the independent contractor, being a business for myself, so on and so forth. I know the ins and outs. It's a tough life. It really is. And it has a lot of benefits to it. You do have that flexibility. You do have that freedom. But at the same point, depending on what sort of industry you're in, you may still find yourself having to be catty-cornered into that old existence. Okay? For instance, I've had found with being a graphic designer If you really want graphic design business, if you want to be able to do things and so forth, you're still going to have to arrange for meetings and so forth during regular business hours. So that's just one example, okay? If you're an electrician, say for instance, you're going to need to be able to work during daylight hours for one thing. Also, you're going to need to be able to go to electrical supply warehouses. They're going to be open during regular business hours. They're not going to be open in the middle of the night, all this sort of stuff, okay? And I'm not talking about places like Lowe's, Home Depot, places like that. I'm talking about, the actual electrical supply warehouses where, places like, what I just mentioned, they have things, but it can be a little bit more limited. But if you're looking for something a little bit more specific or whatever, you're going to have to go to one of those locations. Plumbing supply warehouses is another one, okay? So, yeah, and then of course those ones, they're going to be open, say for instance 7 until 6 or something like that, They're probably not going to be open at 9 o'clock at night like Lowe's or Home Depot are going to be. That's basically what I'm trying to say there. So, yeah. It's interesting what I just saw. But anyway. Okay, so anyway, yeah. There can be some drawbacks with going down that road. On the other hand, and, of course, you probably wind up working longer hours because you're having to be running around to those locations and so forth. You might have to, if you wind up doing, just using the electrician's example, if somebody needs electrical work done, you might have to if you're working residential, you might have to be there when the people are home. Or if it's a business that you're going to, you're going to have to go there during, their open hours, or maybe after their closing hours or something. Or, a lot of times you might have to work 16-hour days. It can be a lot. But on the plus side, you're doing something that you enjoy, okay? Downsides, of course, you're having to be paying for all of your own benefits, your own insurances, health insurance, your medical insurance, your vision, dental, life insurance, all of that. You got to pay for all of it out of pocket. You don't have the backing of the corporation to pick up some of those, eat up some of those tabs, okay? Basically paying for like half of those benefits, and that could be a bit of a sticker shock. So do your research on that before you just make that decision. Oh, I'm just getting a little tired. You also have no paid time off. Okay, something else to consider. So if you're somebody who needs to take some, sick leave every time you turn around or what have you, you're not going to have that option. If you get sick and you don't work, you don't get paid. Plain and simple. If you do not work, you're not getting paid. Okay? No vacation time, where you're taking time off, running to Bermuda or whatever, and you're getting, and you're getting paid during that time. You don't accrue any of holiday pay. You don't accrue any sick time. None of that. So that's something you have to take into consideration. So, yeah, on the one hand, with working a regular job, you save your money, so in that way you can go run off and play and so forth. But you're also, with requesting that time off, you're getting paid during that time. Well, guess what? Now, with being a business owner, you don't have that opportunity. Also, that's another thing with being the business owner. If you're managing it all yourself and so forth, and you close your doors for a week, that's lost business. somebody calls needing your service or whatever, that's loss of wages, loss of business. So you're taking a huge risk. Even if you leave a message on your voicemail saying, "Hey, I decided to run off and go on vacation during this week," yeah, you're losing potential customers too, and they're not going to come back. They're not going to be like, "Oh, so good for you," this and that and everything. No, I need this taken care of now. Bye. And they're going to remember that in the future as well. So they're going to be less likely to contact you. So it's something else to consider as well. So it's good to have, a manager, which of course means you're going to have to pay somebody, which means it's money out of your pocket. So there's a lot of those sorts of things that you have to take into consideration, unless you're doing something that's online, an online service where you don't have to worry about, excuse me, where basically it manages itself. Somebody buys something or what have you, like for instance, if you're selling tutorials or something, or online pictures or something. I don't know. I'm just thinking off my head. Some sort of teaching modules or something. No big deal. It takes care of itself. But I'm talking about actual providing of services. Or if you do have an online business where you're selling product, you're going to need somebody to make sure that that product is getting out. You can't be gone on vacation for weeks on end and you got all these orders piling up and so forth, and that's going to make people angry and less likely to come back and shop your online store as well. So those are things that you have, unless you have somebody, again, who can take care of things while you're gone, okay? And they know what they're doing. That's the thing. Don't leave little Joey, or 18-year-old kid who's just graduated from high school or whatever, their first time job, and maybe they've never worked the biz before or anything, and then next thing you know it, oops, everything's a complete mess. So, you got to make sure you have somebody in charge who knows what they're doing, Even if they may have been involved in the business throughout the whole time or whatever, screw-ups can wind up happening because, let's face it, you know your business better than anybody else. Unless they're somebody who has been there throughout the whole thing or whatever. Or they've received some really good training. So there's going to be some screw-ups when you get back. So that's something else to consider. But at least you, in some ways, have that freedom. You have that flexibility and so forth. At the same point, and I mentioned some positives with having a regular job. You get those benefits, you get some of those costs eaten up, you get your sick leave, your paid time off, and so forth. You accrue 401k stuff, so on and so forth. But, of course, you're living up underneath somebody else's thumb all the time. And I did have it happen. It's requesting holiday time off. Actually, my friend Angie, she was coming out for a visit when I was still living out there working my last design job. I had put in for time off for that time, like a good couple months in advance. And last minute, my boss is throwing a whole bunch of last minute crap at me and is even threatening of canceling my holiday, my vacation. And we're only talking a couple of days because she was coming in on the weekend. And I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? I bust my ass for you with this company and everything. And you know full damn good and well that I am doing this. You can assign something to somebody else, or better yet, stop being such a fucking penny pincher and get somebody else in here and help to take care of some of this load and everything. You did at one point. That's how I wound up here. So there's those things you have to be mindful of. Less likely if it's a major corporation, but it does happen, unfortunately. So, but yeah, or you have them trying to call you when when you're not at work, They are supposed to be paying you. You have the corporations or small companies or whatever trying to take advantage of you no matter what. And legally, doesn't matter what the state is, legally, they are supposed to pay you. If they pick up that phone and dial your number and try and talk to you about anything work-related, they are supposed to pay you for that time. So keep that in mind. But unfortunately, a lot of people allow these companies to take advantage of them, and it's like, no, don't let it. Yeah, you might be in fear of your job being put in jeopardy by not taking those calls, but look at it this way. They're taking advantage of you, and they need to learn their lesson. So yeah, and like I was talking about, with my baby, that's something that has been a big concern of mine. I could tell that we both miss each other quite a lot. And yeah, it's an adjustment. Or you can look at it that way, that it's all an adjustment, so on and so forth. But at the same point, with having that time, being the ruler of my own time, basically, I was working, like when I knew she'd be taking naps or when she'd be sleeping or whatever. It seemed like we always had more time to spend together. Now it's like, okay, I work late afternoon all the way into late at night, either 1 to 10 or 2 to 11, but I spend the mornings getting ready for work, basically. Doing the video, taking time to get ready for work, eating, because I got to give my stomach some time to settle before I get in the car and go down the road, all that sort of stuff. So I feel like I just don't have as much time to be able to spend with her now. And we do miss each other a lot. And that's been a big thing with me. I always take time to spend with my babies, no matter what. And this has brought up some concerns that I had, or some old feelings that I had with when I did work my last job, the design job, with feeling like I never had time to spend with my previous baby, my bunny. So, but of course I also have the concerns if I do go down the road that I'm thinking, with going back to basically being independent, trying to juggle both at the same time, plus spending time with her. Yeah, and I'm not talking about going back driving. I'm talking about other things. Basically following my heart. Following my heart. So, and I know it's a journey. And I'm doing what I can to make sure I spend time with her. But and I really haven't been watching much in the way, or following much in the way on my social media accounts with the spiritual stuff or whatever. I did a little bit yesterday. There were some things that really hit me hard. And then this morning, a couple more things. I haven't been watching MJ's videos at all this past week. That's MJ Cranmore over on Soulful Revolution, her YouTube channel. And I watched a couple of things. And there was also something else that came out through my Facebook account, my private Facebook account, that I say that really hit me hard as well. And it's like, yeah, I know what I need to do. And I did my research to make sure that everything is still in place, which it is. And it's like, yeah, that's really what the direction that I really want to go. And it helps with being in the stable environment. Don't get me wrong. I am right where I need to be right now. And I know that. I've gotten those messages as well. Um, it has helped for me to be in the stable environment, get myself stable, get myself grounded, and so forth, and look at things a little bit more objectively, and making sure, knowing that I'm looking at things more objectively, instead of that nagging feeling, wondering, am I looking at things objectively, or am I looking at it from a standpoint of, oh, I should be doing this, anxiety or what have you. I know now, each time that I have looked at this path, even with being in the midst of everything, that it hasn't been. It has been from a place of following my heart. So I know that now. It's going to be a matter of enjoying the journey and taking it slow and not rushing it. That's what it's going to be. And at the same time, of course, making sure I'm taking care of her, and taking care of myself. So, still don't know if I'm going to stay here or maybe move on someplace else or what have you. I'm not entirely too sure. I still have that inkling about moving back home, about moving back there, making that my place of, stability. I still have that. I still love Nevada in many ways, despite everything that happened. I still have a love there. I love the people. I love the culture. I love the desert. I miss the desert in many ways. I miss a lot of the food. I miss the Mexican population in many ways. Yeah, I hear that. I feel like I've only been seeing one demographic population here, mostly as far as immigrants are concerned. And every time I see them, I think that they are possibly Mexicans or whatever, but then it's like, oops, no, never mind. And then when I do come across them, it's like, oh, it's like a treat for me or something. I don't know. It's just that casual, carefree sort of life that I connect with, and I miss, that I love. And I was raised with it. There's actually a big, or at least back in when I lived there, I'm not entirely too sure now, but in my areas of Michigan, there was a very big Mexican immigrant population there, primarily because of the factories. Well, initially it was primarily because of the farming communities, basically the coming in to work the fields, but then a lot of them wound up moving over into the factories. So we had a lot of Mexican friends when we lived there. Actually, my godfather was Mexican. So yeah, I'm really used to that sort of environment and everything. And then in many ways, there's a lot of differences between, as far as cultures are concerned, between there and out west, but in some ways there were similarities, and I really enjoyed it. I really, really did. And I miss it in several ways. I find that the immigrant population that's here, tend to be a bit intense, a little bit. They definitely have a lot of money. They don't think anything about spending it either, with remodeling their homes and so forth. But I also think about some of the negative aspects out there. Like, for instance, as far as my health is concerned, I'm not entirely too sure if I could even move back, or even if maybe I tried moving to another part of the state or something. I don't know. I'd have to go out there and test the waters. Some ways I do miss the California influence. I hate to say it. Even the LA people, even though they were the bane of all of us there in Vegas. Those of us who have lived know, understand what I'm talking about. But yeah, I do miss that in some ways. I do miss it. Yeah. Part of it is it's of course, I also recognize the fact part of it could be just mourning the loss. It was a sudden move, you know. I was basically jolted out, you know. And that that cut hurts pretty deep, you know. So, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, there's all of that. But I do think about maybe moving back to the West Coast. It's like, yeah, there's been a lot of things that's been nice here. But there's also a lot of things that I do miss too. So, so I don't know. And I feel like in some ways, I didn't really finish things, a lot of things that I wanted to do. But anyway, places I wanted to be able to go visit, and so yeah, I can still do that or whatever. But I just, I don't know. I mean, and yeah, don't get me wrong, it's been nice being back on the East Coast too. Could be that maybe I need to come out here to tie up some loose ends within myself. I don't know. You know, I've missed some things. You know, like my squirrely squirrels. You know, I miss my squirrely squirrels. It's been nice seeing them and had opportunity to see an albino. Haven't seen any black squirrels. Of course, got the opportunity to see red squirrels. So that's really, really cool. Seeing blue jays and cardinals. Yes. Of course, the black caps and some other, and of course the wild turkey. That was really cool. I enjoyed that. So, it could be that too. I don't know. I don't know if I feel like I'm more of a worldly person. I don't know if it's that. I feel like I'm caught between, both sides of the country. There's things that I love about both, I'll admit I do miss In-N-Out. Miss Jack in the Box. My gosh, having places open 24 hours. My word. I miss that, or at least having places open late, I miss that. There's a few things that I miss. So, I don't know. I've only been here for a couple of months, so I haven't really had opportunities to fall in love with it or anything. But there's a lot of things that's just kind of like, yeah. I'll admit I do miss the energy out there. But at the same point, I do like being able to kick back, relax too. So, yeah, I miss my jasmine plant. I really do. But I just hope, and of course I just have to hope that it's in good hands. I don't know. There's a lot. I know I'm wrestling with a lot still. And I just have to give myself some time to, I'm not making any rush decisions. If I would have to be able to go back and explore, is what it boils down to, figure things out that way. Whether it's back to Vegas, never got a chance to visit Reno. I'd love to see Tahoe. From what I've seen, it's beautiful. I know my one friend, Debbie, her and her husband lived there for a while, loved it. I don't know why they decided to move. I don't know. I never really, I know I asked her at one point, but I don't remember what she said. But I get the feeling that, well, okay, yeah, she is a Sag. Well, actually, I think she's a cuss baby, if I'm not mistaken. Sag and Cap. So, yeah, it makes sense. Makes a lot of sense with that restlessness. So, I don't know. Then there's other places in Nevada that I never got a chance to go to, too. Like Ely. Oh, I'd love to visit Virginia City. Never got a chance to go there. I mean, shoot, Bonanza. Hey, you know, I would love to. I'd love to see that. You know, there's places that I do follow up on on Instagram, and yet I've never been to them. Or I'd like to be able to go back, like Beatty. I think I was there once. I'd like to go there again. You know, see their wild burros. That's really cool. I love that. So, but before I would leave here permanently, I would need to go up north so I can possibly see, or at least hear, the wolves. Definitely need that. But I do miss my coyotes out there. I miss them a lot. A lot. So, but that was always a treat. But I've had opportunities to see deer here, and quite a few other things that I've mentioned. I don't know. I have a lot to think about. A lot to think about. So, one nice thing out here is that things are a hell of a lot cheaper. Hell of a lot cheaper. As far as, like housing, gas, land. So there's quite a one thing I'm learning is that you can even find abandoned places and so forth. So I don't know. I'm just going with it. I'm going to go down this one road though first, and see where it takes me. So just go with it. But anyway, I really should go. It's already 11:45. I still have to get laundry done and run down to Walmart, all that sort of good stuff, and get her food. And I'm getting hungry too. Anyway, I'll talk at you later. I love you guys. But yeah, I'll keep you posted on how I'm thinking with things. So, anywho, yeah, I was just thinking of something else that I missed from out there too. But anywho, love you guys. Talk to y'all later. Love you.